Welcome to Community Connection. My name is Pastor Lauren Mellum. Welcome to all of you as we share the Community Connection today for Monday, February 8th. Grateful that you're taking a few moments to dwell in the Word here with me, and I hope for you that your unfolding of your week, you feel God's strength with you, leading you each step of the way. For the devotional today, I'm going to share a few thoughts about seeing. Not so much eyesight, but more the sense of seeing another person that is before us and the interaction that happens. A short reading of Scripture from Genesis 1:26 and 27. Then God said, "Let us make humankind in our image." So God created humankind in his image. Here's a thought from the writer Parker Palmer. He writes, "I've been thinking about how easy it is to look but not see. Missing, seeing a person in the process. For example, we look at another person and find only the reflection of our own biases, needs, and fears, rather than truly seeing the being we're with. It's also easy to look at the world around us and find only banality, corruption, and violence, rather than also seeing the good that's there. The hidden wholeness, as Thomas Merton called it, that lies beneath the broken surface." As I reflected on Parker Palmer's words, I was remembering some study I did in graduate school. When I was doing some research, I was remembering and reading a book written by William Isaacs, who, as I remember it, gave an illustration about respect. I recall that Isaacs made the point that respect is about seeing another person as legitimate. As I recall, he gave an example of a greeting in a South African language, that when they greeted one another in that culture, they would say, "Sawubona," which means, "I see you." In that culture, being seen had more meaning than in Western cultures. It meant that the person before you, in some real sense, was brought more fully into existence when they were really seen and greeted as such. So saying these words in that African language was more than kind of a "hi, how are you?" as we passed. It was to meet another person and to greet them and to see them. And their word, the substance of the word they spoke to each other, the sawubona, was to see the person. "I see you." Well, as I remember it, Isaacs went on to comment that respect is not a passive act. When we respect someone, we take a second look at them. We look for the life welling up within them as a human being. We see the divine presence of God in them. For all people are God's children. One thing I've noticed in the prayers of the church as of late is the acknowledgement that we are all made in the image of God. This transforms how we see ourselves and transforms how we see others. We are God's beloved ones, created by God, saved by the ultimacy of God's grace. We are made in the image of God. Like you, I've been kind of thinking about how we together create a more civil, peaceable world. And I think it's kind of interesting to look at other cultures and maybe the practices they have. Even a language from an African culture where they say, "I see you." And it was more than a matter of politeness when they would share that word. It was about worth. It was about the dignity of each person. Sawubona, it says, "I see the whole of you, your experiences, your passions, your pains, your strengths, your weaknesses, and I see your future. You are valuable to me." It is a word that helped another person exist in the present moment. And I guess it had a response. I'm not sure how you pronounce the response, "Sawubona," but the person would say back, Shaboka. I exist for you. They are more than greetings. It is a sharing of how life is shared. And in a world of doing, we all can notice how important it is to be with another person and to really see them. Today, as you begin your work, as you go about your week, as you tend to home and other things that you're about this week, just think about how you look out from your own world and the people that you see. Know that God sees you, beloved, and calls you to see others as beloved, as made in the image of God as well. And then for whatever reason, this morning I was thinking about the story from St. John 9, so I'll read it for you, about Jesus giving sight. As Jesus walked along, he saw a blind man from birth. His disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? And Jesus answered, neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that God's works might be revealed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. And when Jesus had said this, he spat on the ground and made mud with the saliva and spread the mud on the man's eyes, saying to him, go wash in the pool of Siloam. He went and washed, and the man came back, able to see. As we are washed in God's grace, may Jesus give us eyes to see other people and to see them as made in the image of God, beloved with great dignity. And by God's grace, may they see us back. And it's quite a moment, isn't it, to be seen. God bless you this week. May it be a good week for you. Amen.